announce who you are, even though we know who you are.
Should by now.
I do, yes. And so does everybody else.
I don't want that far. Bob Kemp, Ward 3. This is from Jane Bringarth, Bud's daughter. She's leaving early in the morning for Colorado, so she asked me to bring this and read it to you. It says, the Bernard Bud Kemp family would like to thank Mayor Julie Thatcher, M.L. Coffin, and Gary Dahlman for the wonderful dedications, because there was 2 of them, of Bud's street name at Rolling Hills. We also want to thank the City Council for giving Bud this honor. He was passionate about the City of Boonville and the people that make up this wonderful community. We thank you for your continued dedication to his beloved Boonville. We will watch it grow together. Thank you again, Yvonne, Jeff, Jane, and Rick Kemp. And then I have a personal note. Also, I want to thank Mars Carter and Ned. You brought up the resolution, I think. And Megan, you wrote up a nice resolution. And all the council for their unanimous vote. And I asked Bud one time, I said, Bud, why do you keep running for office? And he said, I don't hunt, I don't fish. He said, I like being involved with the City of Boonville. And I told him, I said, I don't always agree with what you do, but I do admire you. And for what you do, and I want to admire, I'll tell the council that I also admire all of you all. I know it ain't easy sometimes. I'd also like to thank everyone for all the kind words that we have received throughout all of this. So very much, we appreciate all you all have done. Thank you very much.
And also, they did get a sign early, and the sign was placed in Bud's room. And Bud did get to see it, and he was still conscious at that time, and he did. I'm sure he really appreciated it, and from all the county, we want to say a big thank you. Thanks again.
Okay. Thank you very much. Okay. Thank you very much. Any other citizens' comments this evening? Seeing none, we'll move along to approval of the minutes of the June 16th, 2014 council meeting. Those were in your packet. You've had the weekend to look at them. Are there any additions or corrections? Hearing none, they will stand as presented. Consent items, we have none this evening. Presentation of accounts and claims. Mary, when you're ready.
Ordinance appropriating money. Be it ordained by the Council of the City of Boonville as follows. Section 1. For the purpose of paying salaries and various accounts against the City of Boonville, which have been allowed by the Council at the regular meeting thereof on July 7, 2014, the sum of $661,420.39. General Fund, $294,136.21. Sanitation, $30,511.02. CIP tax, $6,009.09. Waterworks, $130,074.73. Capital projects, $19,614.81. Wastewater, $101,366.19. Tourism, $8,460.94. Gaming, $71,247.40. Parks and Water, 0. Section 2, the bookkeeper is hereby authorized and instructed to draw checks on the respective city bank accounts in favor of the persons whose salaries and accounts have been allowed as above, amounting to $661,420.39, being the total amount of money above appropriated. Section 3, the sergeant shall take effect and be enforced from and after its passage. First reading on July 7, 2014. read for the second time this 7th day of July 2014, since a copy was made available prior to the meeting.
Second reading, title only.
Ordinance appropriating money.
Morris?
Mayor, I make a motion this be approved.
Do I hear a second? Susan seconds. Roll call.
Beach,
Yes.
Hurt,
Yes.
Carter,
Yes.
Ayers,
Yes.
Young,
Yes.
Evans,
Yes.
Meadows.
Yes.
Okay, thank you very much. Unfinished business, we have one item, second reading of bill number 2014-016, approving a minor subdivision of the Frederick T. Kemper Park, formerly the Kemper Military School.
An ordinance of the City of Boonville, Missouri, approving a minor subdivision of the Frederick T. Kemper Park, formerly the Kemper Military School, located in the west central part of Boonville, and all located in Section 35, Township 49 North, Range 17 West, Cooper County, Missouri, and recorded in Book 406, page 751 of the Cooper County Recorder of Deeds, and repealing all ordinances in conflict with this ordinance.
Morris,
Mayor, I make a motion this be approved.
do I hear a second?
Second.
Becky? Questions or comments? Roll call.
Beach,
Yes.
Hurt,
Yes.
Carter,
Yes.
Ayers,
Yes.
Young,
Yes.
Evans,
Yes.
Meadows.
Yes.
New business, item A, first reading of bill number 2014-017, approving tourism contracts for fiscal year 2014-15.
An ordinance of the City of Boonville, Missouri, approving tourism contracts for services, providing an effective date therefore, and repealing all ordinances in conflict with this ordinance.
Item B, consider resolution number R 2014-07, accepting a bid from Vance Brothers Incorporated for the asphalt pavement seals 2014.
A resolution of the City of Boonville, Missouri, authorizing and approving an agreement between Vance Brothers Incorporated and the City of Boonville, Missouri pertaining to asphalt pavement seals 2014 and providing an effective date therefore. Whereas the City of Boonville has solicited and received bids for this project and determined that Vance Brothers Incorporated represents the best bid pursuant to the purchasing code set forth in Section 2-20 of the City of Boonville Code of Ordinances. Therefore, be it resolved by the City Council of the City of Boonville, Missouri as follows. Section 1, that a certain agreement between Vance Brothers Incorporated and the City of Boonville, Missouri relating to the asphalt pavement seals 2014, a copy of which is marked Exhibit A as attached hereto and made a part hereof, is hereby approved. Section 2, that the city administrator and the city clerk are hereby authorized to execute and attest said agreement on behalf of the City of Boonville. Section 3, this resolution shall take effect and be in full force from and after its passage and approval. Passed the 7th day of July, 2014 by the City Council of Boonville, Missouri.
Morris,
Make a motion this be approved.
do I hear a second?
Second.
Kari? Questions or comments? Bid tab is on the back, under the estimate. No questions? Roll call.
Beach,
Yes.
Hurt,
Yes.
Carter,
Yes.
Ayers,
Yes.
Young,
Yes.
Evans,
Yes.
Meadows.
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Consider resolution number R 2014-08, accepting a bid from B&P Patterson Concrete and Construction for the Spring Street improvements between First and Main Streets, STP 1300-507.
A resolution of the City of Boonville, Missouri, authorizing and approving an agreement between B&P Patterson Concrete and Construction and the City of Boonville, Missouri pertaining to Spring Street improvements between First and Main Streets, STP 1300-507, and providing an effective date therefore. Whereas the City of Boonville has solicited and received bids for this project and determined that B&P Concrete and Construction represents the best bid pursuant to the purchasing code set forth in Section 2-20 of the City of Boonville Code of Ordinances. Therefore, be it resolved by the City Council of the City of Boonville, Missouri as follows. Section 1, that a certain agreement between B&P Concrete and Construction and the City of Boonville, Missouri relating to the Spring Street improvements between First and Main Streets, STP 1300-507, a copy of which is marked Exhibit A as attached here to and made a part hereof, is hereby approved. Section 2, that the city administrator and the city clerk are hereby authorized to execute and attest said agreement on behalf of the city of Boonville. Section 3, this resolution shall take effect and be on full force from and after its passage and approval. Passed the 7th day of July, 2014 by the City Council of Boonville, Missouri.
Mayor, make a motion this approved.
Thank you, Morris. Do I hear a second?
A second.
Thank you, Susan. I think Earl would like to make
Yeah,
some
I'll
comments.
give you a little background on this. If you recall, this is the one of the grants that Kate was able to procure for streetscape improvements on Spring Street from the depot area up to Main Street. And the project's kind of taken a few turns along the way as it's been designed and works its way through the review processes. Originally, the project was for some new sidewalks, quite a few new sidewalks coming up from down there to Main Street. New lighting to match what's on Main Street, the decorative stuff. A significant piece of drainage work down toward the, I guess, the lower third of it, down there, and some crosswalk work on some of those things. In the end, we've ended up splitting up the project into two, so what you see tonight is just part of it. We were able, in trying to wrestle with the lighting, which was the most complicated piece, found that, to our surprise somewhat, Ameren was the cheapest option on providing lighting, and actually by a rather hefty amount. So we ended up saving quite a bit of money on the lighting. We haven't quite pinned that down yet in terms of, we have a unit price, but we're still not perfectly sure how many we're going to do. In fact, there's some places where there's an old pole that has a light on it. We'd like to replace that pole with a decorative piece. But if for some reason they think something else is on that they won't do, we're not going to set a decorative one by their pole and so forth. So, and there's some other ones that are big, that are obvious that they're not going to remove. So that's, nonetheless, however that works out, that saved a lot of money. On the other side of the table, this bid came in higher than we had hoped. If you look across the items, there kind of was different elements that they were pretty high on. I'd guess it had to do something with the conduit and putting it through a fairly busy right-of-way going up and down the street. And one of them had removal of improvements is pretty high. I don't know if that was a cover for something or if he was really scared of just working in a relatively confined space. But nonetheless, what we saved on one, we took back in this, and probably even a little on top of that. We're also going to look at reducing the scope of a couple of things on here that the MoDOT review jacked up on us in terms of doing some ADA things that nobody's going to use even if we do it. So we're going to delete some items there, and that'll result in some savings on this. So in the end, we'll try to pull it back to to the vicinity of where we hope we started for, and still have a project that does what we thought it would do. So.
Steve?
When you look at these bids, you have two guys that are pretty close to each other, two companies.
Yeah.
And you have a lower bid. Have we done business with BMP before?
We have not done business with them. Scott is, as a general familiarity with them down around the Jeff City area. They're
Yeah, we're familiar with them, we've seen their work, they have worked with us in the past.
Okay. So they didn't miss something out of the bid?
No.
Everything's there?
Everything's there, they're very much interested in the project.
Okay.
We have talked to them.
So you're comfortable?
Any other questions?
My question was exactly the same.
Okay. Comments?
That's all.
Roll call.
Beach,
Yes.
Hurt,
Yes.
Carter,
Yes.
Ayers,
yes.
Young,
Yes.
Evans.
Yes.
Meadows.
Yes.
Item D, consider resolution number 2014-09, accepting a bid from Gherkin Environmental Enterprises for the Kemper Campus Science Hall Rehabilitation Asbestos Plan and Abatement.
A resolution of the City of Boonville, Missouri, authorizing and approving an agreement between Gherkin Environmental Enterprises Incorporated and the City of Boonville, Missouri pertaining to Kemper Campus Science Hall rehabilitation, asbestos plan, and abatement, and providing an effective date therefore. Whereas the City of Boonville has solicited and received bids for this project and determined that Gherkin Environmental Testing and Abatement Incorporated represents the best bid pursuant to the purchasing code set forth in Section 2-20 of the City of Boonville Code of Ordinances. Therefore, be it resolved by the City Council of the City of Boonville, Missouri, as follows. Section 1, that a certain agreement between Gherkin Environmental Testing and Abatement Incorporated and the City of Boonville, Missouri, relating to the Kemper Campus Science Hall rehabilitation, asbestos plan, and abatement, a copy of which is marked Exhibit A is attached hereto, and made a part hereof is hereby approved. Section 2, that the city administrator and the city clerk are hereby authorized to execute and attest said agreement on behalf of the City of Boonville. Section 3, this resolution shall take effect and be in full force from and after its passage and approval. Passed the 7th day of July, 2014, by the City Council of Boonville, Missouri.
Mayor, make a motion to be approved.
Thank you, Morris. Second?
Second.
Thank you, Kari.
Madam Mayor, I only had one question. We have Gherkin Environmental Enterprises, Inc. up in the body of the resolution. However, we talk in the rest of the resolution about Gherkin Environmental Testing and Abatement Incorporated. Is that one in the same corporation?
Yes, according to the bid tab, I believe.
Which one is it?
The Gherkin Environmental Enterprises Incorporated.
Okay.
Where do you see the other?
So,
It's down here.
Gherkin? Oh, I see in the,
We have two different names for
okay.
the same company
Yeah.
in the same resolution. It needs to be just one or the other,
Yeah, I'll
whichever the
correct it.
official name is. Yeah,
okay,
from a technical perspective.
okay. Questions? Ned?
yeah, like the previous bid, this one struck me as very strange, particularly having worked quite a bit with GAM locally, kind of use them as a peg to set things. But this, we're talking from over 200,000 to 129,000, so that bothered me. The recommendation comes from Septagon, is that correct?
Yes.
Excuse me, I didn't know I was addressing you, I was addressing Scott.
It's not
there for a
Scott's
minute.
project.
Okay. And in the end of that sentence of the recommendation, it says, subject to additional requirements needed by EDA.
Right.
Does that subject us to this 129 changing?
No, and since that was written and sent to us, we found that there aren't any additional, other than they have to approve it. But we thought we had to get something called a site certificate approved prior to that, and they decided that wasn't required on this. So it doesn't have anything to do with the amount.
Okay. And we're comfortable that this doesn't represent just a low ball thing, that we're going to get change orders in?
As far as I know, yes.
The signature down there, in case you can't read it, is Dennis Paul, and we have worked with Dennis Paul a lot, so I think he carries a lot of weight in that. Feels comfortable enough
I
to
think
sign
I
this.
just, amend this into here, if that's what we need to do.
Okay, so we're going to be amending Gherkin Environmental Testing to Gherkin Enterprises
Into section 1.
into Section 1.
Yeah.
Megan, should we do a amendment on that?
Yes.
Okay,
In all three places, I'm confused.
okay, I'll
that
call for
correct?
that.
Okay. Thank you.
Well, yes.
It's okay everywhere else.
No. Okay, yeah, there's two places.
Under whereas and section 1,
Right.
and that'll give us three places where it's the same.
Okay.
Where's the third place, Ned?
It's up in the
It's
the
correct.
summary.
It's correct there.
Yeah, it's correct.
Yeah, I'm saying it's three total. I'm sorry.
Okay,
I didn't.
two corrections. Okay.
Right, two corrections.
I'm looking
yeah.
for a motion to do that.
I'm sorry I confused you.
I'm looking for a motion to change that.
Oh, to change the, so moved.
And a second?
Second.
Thank you, Morris. Roll call on the correction of changing under whereas and under section 1, changing it to Gherkin Environmental Enterprises, Inc.
Beach,
Yes.
Hurt,
Yes.
Carter,
Yes.
Ayers,
Yes.
Young,
Yes.
Evans.
Yes.
Meadows.
Yes.
Now we'll vote on the resolution as corrected. Any comments now on it? Okay, roll call.
Beach,
Yes.
Hurt,
Yes.
Carter,
Yes.
Ayers.
Yes.
Young,
Yes.
Evans.
Yes.
Meadows.
Yes.
Reports of standing committees. IDA and MFA. Noah is not here this evening, but I think the minutes are all in the packet. I don't know if anyone had any specific questions about that. Hearing none, we'll move on to the Housing Authority, Ned Beach.
Another really good meeting, lots of good questions. As Albert gets himself positioned in the committee, he's been asking a lot of very good questions, and of course, Bob has done a good job at providing the information for him, so it's a good board.
Okay, any questions for Ned? Parks Board, Steve?
The meeting was canceled for lack of an agenda.
Okay. Tourism Commission, Susan?
They met and had discussion on several topics, as you can see here by the minutes. We also have a new commission member, Teresa Krebs, and discussion about the remaining grants for the rest of the year was determined, and also more discussion on the Missouri River Festival in September, how we wanted to help support that. And they are gearing up to do interviews for the applicants for the tourism director.
Okay. Any questions? Okay. Thank you, Susan. Fire Board, Steve?
There's a couple recommendations come out of the meeting. The board recommends full staffing be at 2 firefighters per shift. Right now, they have 2 shifts with 2 and a third one with just 1 person. They're making do right now, but it's not the best case scenario. Also, they're looking at purchasing a ladder truck, 100-foot ladder truck somewhere down the road. And they would like to set up some money aside each year to build a fund in the budget. When they look at a 100-foot ladder truck, a used one would cost about $500,000. A new one, you're talking about $1 million. And they're also needing a rescue truck somewhere down the road. I mean, we're talking anywhere from 5 years or so. It could be earlier, it could be later, somewhere in that time frame. But a rescue truck would run about $175,000. So they're pretty big purchases, and if we have no money in the kitty, it's kind of hard to hit a budget with that in 1 year. So those are the recommendations.
Okay. Thank you, Steve. Any questions or comments for Steve? G, Street, Alley, and Sanitation. Kari?
We had our regular meeting on Wednesday, June 25th. 2 main points of discussion were lowering the speed limit on Jefferson Road, which is currently 30 miles an hour. Lots of discussion about that. Walkers, people with children playing. So we're going to, the agreement was that it should be lowered to 25 miles an hour, and I guess we'll wait on that for the annexation, right, ML? And then the other one was changes to the 2-hour parking restrictions downtown, and all those details are in your minutes. Do you have any questions?
When will that start?
Does it require an ordinance?
After we pass an ordinance? The downtown?
Yeah, downtown.
But that, you'll bring that fairly quickly, I would assume.
But the Highway 98 Jefferson Road ordinance will hold off.
Right. Okay. Any questions for Kari? Okay, reports of city officials, city administrator, Earl.
I don't have anything tonight.
Mayor, a couple of things. Tomorrow night, there's going to be 2 meetings going on in this building, just so you don't get confused and come for one and end up in the other. Local agency funding will be having their presentations in this area from 6 to 8, and planning and zoning will be meeting at 7 o'clock in the conference room right behind us here. And that is tomorrow. I would urge you, if you're able, that's pretty interesting to hear what the local agency funding requests are. Then I want to brag on our city staff, our department heads, and our employees during Heritage Days. I don't know about you, but I got so many compliments on the way our city looked and just so many things. People were very proud of our city, and thanks to all of our department heads and all their employees. They've outdid themselves this year. City Councilor,
I have nothing this evening.
Economic Developer, Dr. Gann.
Good evening, Mayor, Council. I'll direct your attention to the Economic Development Report that's in your packet, and I'll just highlight a few things from that report that I gave. This is the report I gave to the IDA. The first thing I'd like to touch on under Item 1, Attraction Activities, C number 2, is that we did have a request regarding Project Argonne, which was a rather significant manufacturing inquiry. We followed up with some follow-on questions with that, but currently there are 18 buildings from 16 communities and 32 built-to-suit sites that are in the state of Missouri that are in that mix. We responded with the spec building, which from what we can tell at the moment, is more like what this company is wanting. They're wanting something in place already. On E, just below that, is I also wanted to make you aware that we've been having a number of inquiries about things that we have no inventory for. So a rather significant economic development project, several hundred jobs had to be located on a Burlington Northern Santa Fe Railway. Of course, we don't have that. Another project was a 150,000 square foot building with 36-foot sidewalls. Don't have that, but anyway, we're getting those inquiries and we're responding as appropriate. Item 2, city staff are working collaboratively together on an expansion project for a local business. I think we're being proactive in our engagement with this business to help them expand. A significant expansion for the business of 5 or so people. But anyway, I just wanted you to be aware that the city staff are working well together on making that happen. On economic gardening activities, item 3, we had our first entrepreneurship classes. They've begun. We had 7 registrations. I think we actually had 6 attendees. For social media marketing. Just wanted to let you know that had occurred, and that the city and county, the way it was presented is the class had a cost. If you were a Cooper County resident, you were scholarshiped by your city and county governments to attend, is how that was presented, to show you building value with your constituents. Item 3B there I'll come back to at the end. On item 4, as you'll recall, we were successful in getting a $100,000 award from MU for some workforce development issues for our alternative energy technician training program at the Boonville schools. Because of the timing between the state and MU, and then MU and us meaning the school district, we had some difficulties in the timing of making that happen. We have asked for and received a no-cost contract extension, so we'll have another year to perform on that $100,000, which is very helpful. Turning over to the back page, on number 8, B, the IDA, or actually the Municipal Facilities Authority, is we're continuing our work on establishing a revolving loan fund. We've done some formalization of that, and we're working on a vision of, if that fund is successful, how we'll grow from there and leverage those dollars. So we're working on that actively. And under item 10E, today the president of the University of Missouri System, Tim Wolf, came over and presented at Rotary and spoke very glowingly about this collaboration that we have working together. So very nice presentation. So I'd like to jump back. At the council's direction, I was given some homework to do some inquiries with local banking. This is on item 3B. Regarding ad norm. At your request, I inquired about co-participation with some local bankers, local banking entities. I reached out to all within the county, surveyed them, and without guarantees on your part, they didn't really have interest in co-investing. Wilbert Meyer and I, the president of the IDA, also took the next step and reached out to Centennial Investors, which is an angel investment group out of Columbia. Met with them not only about this project, but also other projects, and they did not have an appetite for co-investment on the ad norm project. But anyway, I did follow up on what you had asked me to do. If there's any questions, I'd be happy to address them.
Ned?
Right, does that put us in a position, Jim, with ad norm to give them a response?
Well, I think he's made a request. I think he deserves a response, either way.
Yeah. So our response would be that we are not interested? Is that what you're suggesting?
Well, I think that's the council's decision to make.
Okay.
I think we need some dialogue from the council about what they would like for Jim to do at this point. But yes, I think a response is merited. It's been quite a while, and I think he deserves a response. So I'd like to hear from the council.
Do we need to have a motion to discuss, or do we just want to do just open discussion, Julie?
Well, why don't we just have open discussion and kind of
That's
get
fine.
in.
It appears as if from an outside financing standpoint that ad norm, partially because of the guarantee and partially because understanding the concept is difficult, does not have or has not been able to produce any interest. His specific request was that we finance him, that we provide the cash for him. And from my standpoint, I don't think we want any part of that. We're not a bank. We're not a financial institution. And to handle something like that, particularly a line of credit, Jim, it's difficult. And it requires a lot of skills that we don't have. So from my standpoint, I think it's time that we told them that we're not interested in participating with it.
Okay. Any other comments? We need more than one person's input. Morris?
I mean, I just don't think the city's in a position to invest that type of money on a dream
Okay.
and everything, so I would be against it.
Okay. Steve?
I mean, if we personally wouldn't do something like this, we sure shouldn't do it as a city.
Good point.
I'm sorry, but that's what I see.
Okay. Susan?
I love the idea, but with no proof of concept, and I don't think the city should be in that position to sponsor something like that.
Okay. Is there anyone who feels strongly that we should continue discussions? Let's put it that way. No. Okay. Well, Jim, I think you can.
So it's the consensus of the council that
Yes.
we communicate with the entrepreneur that,
Please.
okay, will do.
Did you have anything you wanted to add?
No, I think that covers it as we anticipated.
Okay.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you very much, Jim. Did anyone have any other questions for Jim? Okay. City Clerk, Mary, do you have anything this evening?
No, I have nothing to report.
Okay, miscellaneous.
Mayor, I got 2 or 3 things.
Okay.
First, I think whoever was responsible putting the flags out downtown, it really set downtown off for Heritage Days Parade. And I think I had a lot of positive comments, and I know you kind of suggested it, but I think it really looked good and looked positive. And then on behalf of the Shriners, there were several signs in windows welcome the Shriners to town. That never has happened, and I want to say thanks on their behalf. Then last is, like the mayor mentioned earlier, local agency funding is tomorrow night. Please come, because this committee is working hard. They've already had 1 meeting, and correct me, Mary, I think we've got about 54,000 and roughly 67 or close to 70,000 worth of
I think
requests.
that's very close to
But they're really taking their job seriously, and if Henry was on it last year, but I think anybody that hasn't seen how much work they put in needs to be here tomorrow night, because they're going to be here about 4 hours tomorrow night to try and figure out where the best use of that money could go to.
Okay. Any other miscellaneous? Ned?
I had one item, and it has to do with the fire board's recommendation and minutes, both. In their minutes, they did not reflect one suggestion that was made during the meeting, and that was that the fire department return to the kind of setup they had before we added the rescue vehicles. And they had 1 firefighter on each shift. I think this may be something that requires a little bit more in-depth study, and I'm not quite sure how to handle that. So if it's all right with you, I'd just like to sit down with Megan and Earl and talk to you about it and see whether my thoughts are possible. And if they're not, then we don't have to worry about sharing them with the whole world. But I would like to see the minutes corrected, Mayor.
Okay, who takes the minutes?
Danny Taft.
Danny Taft?
No, Judy Stock.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Judy Stock? Okay, don't they have to correct that, Megan?
Right.
Yes.
Okay, so
Ned,
send it back
you were in
to,
attendance at the meeting?
No, but I
No.
was told about it. And
Okay.
Steve, I talked to Steve before the meeting tonight, and he agreed that it was said.
I'm not sure anything was really discussed about it. I mean, things were thrown out. But
I didn't really catch what Councilman B, what did you say was left out?
There was discussion and a question with regard to returning the fire department to the structure that we had before we added the rescue vehicles, where you had 3 shifts, and I think you worked it that way. You had 3 shifts and you had 1 guy on each one of the shifts. And we didn't have the rescue demands for personnel. And I'd like to make sure that that's reflected in the minutes, because it was mentioned, it was talked about.
do you recall that, Tim?
I mean, I told them that we used to run 1 person a shift. We used to run about 70 calls a year. Now we're running close to 800 calls a year due to the amount of medical calls we're
Right.
running. But I in no way, I didn't get any idea.
No,
that
it was
I
just
wanted to
information.
quit running medical calls because it's just the way the fire departments, Columbia used to not run medical calls. Kansas City didn't run medical calls, but they do now, and
I think it was more information than anything.
far-fetched idea.
I think all we can do is ask them they approve these, I'm assuming, at their next meeting, and discuss that Mr. Beach, although he wasn't there, felt like there were some things that were not included. So if you would just make sure that's done at the next fire board meeting. And Ned, there's certainly nothing to keep you from coming in to talk to Megan and Earl about
Right.
this.
Yep, thank you.
Any other miscellaneous? Seeing none, I would ask for motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Thank you very much.